Hi, parents. I just wanted to give you a quick little know before you go parent conference video. That way I'm not repeating, but also you have a little more time to process what I'm saying at the parent conferences. So I'm going to start with talking to you about Google Classroom. Inside of Google Classroom, you are able to find everything that you need to know. I know it seems like I'm going to multiple websites in a day, but they actually all originate in Google Classroom. So all directions, all due dates, everything that is submitted or missing, and all the grades on turned in assignments are in Google Classroom. Google Classroom, the classwork is organized by week. So if you're just trying to figure out how do I figure out right where my kid is right now and how can I get them caught up currently, I would suggest that you start with the current week that we're on. It's organized by the week, and then I try to make sure I put the title real clear so you know when it's science, when it's social studies, when it's math, when it's a quiz. I try to make them super clear in there. And then the due dates are listed right here in classwork. So for the most part, other than language arts, everything's always due on Friday. Language arts is a 5-day system, so that's why it says Unit 2, Week 1, and then it's a 5-day system. But we don't do language arts on Wednesdays, so language arts doesn't always end up being due on a Friday. It's always due on the 5th day. I always make it super clear to students, and I always put the due date correctly in Google Classroom. So these aren't arbitrary dates, they're intentional dates in here. If you wanted to view your own students' work, you can do it through the emails that I'm sending you with Google Classroom, or as I do, I just lean right over my kid's shoulder and make him take me on a walk through his Google Classroom. So there's a button at the top on the classwork screen that says View Your Work. You can click that, and basically it pulls up your student. This is actually one of my sons in high school, so that's why nothing is going to look familiar. But you're going to pull up it will pull up just your student. It'll pull up all the assignments, the due date shows, and then this is the most important part. It shows whether it's been assigned but not yet turned in. If it says missing, that means that they didn't turn it in on the due date. So the due date has already passed and it's still not turned in. Or it shows us a score, a grade, and that's their graded score on this assignment. So for me as a parent, I look over their shoulder, I ask them to show this to me, and then when I start seeing those red missings, that's when I know that I should be concerned with those particular assignments. So if I'm trying to catch my kid up, this is my high school senior, and if I'm trying to catch him up, my first and foremost priority are these red missings, right? But even on a quick glance, if I wanted to know how they're doing on quizzes or in general what their scores are turning out like, pay attention to these grades, because if your student is getting a 2 out of a 10 or a 3 out of a 10 or lower numbers, clearly that's an area that they are struggling in when it comes to actual assessments. I also wanted to talk to you about Aries, because you hear a lot about Google Classroom and Aries. Aries is going to become your best friend as your child moves into middle school and high school. These are my sons on here, but I just want you to know that you can always log into Aries the same as you did when you first registered your student at Val Vista with your email and password. And then all your children will show up, and there's a dashboard for you to look at their attendance. And so if you're wondering why some things are turning out, how attendance is turning out, you can look at their attendance, you can look at their grades, you can click on the grade book and get specific details about what's missing and why. And you can even get their test scores, so recent MAP scores or SBAC scores. Obviously, we don't have any from last March, but you can even get your child's test scores. And then right here at the top, if you have more than one student, you can toggle between Toby and Brody or whoever your students are. And then finally, I wanted to let you know about the report cards, which are officially in elementary school called Report to Parents. I could not make it any clearer that all it is a report to you. It's no official document that categorizes your student as one thing or another. It's just a stopping point in the quarter where we stop and give you some information about where your child is scoring and where they fall amongst their peers. It's just a report to parents. It will be based on participation and completion of assignments during digital learning. A normal report card is based on their ability to do the skill. So say the skill was summarizing. The grade is based on how well they can summarize. Well, during digital learning, I have to base more on their participation and completion of assignments, which is a little closer to how high school grades and middle school grades go. But typically in elementary school, we're not grading them on daily work. It's how well they can actually perform the skill that's being taught, whether it's language fluency or the science standards or whatever it is. So you're going to see a lot more dependency on participation and completion of assignments, which takes you back to the Google Classroom and using that to know when they're completing assignments. Quarter one report to parents are going home the week of October 23rd. The district is mailing them. The official end of the quarter is October 9th, so it's about a week after parent conferences. There's one more week of school, and that's the end of the quarter, is October 9th. And their report to parents will come home in the mail. When you do get your report card, it doesn't hurt to remember that they're going to get a 4, 3, 2, or 1. This is in no way relatable to an A, B, C, or D. 1 is minimal. The student is performing in a cluster of standards reporting far below grade level expectations. 2 is approaching. When we're at the beginning of a school year, especially with the gap that we had at the end of last year, a 2 is pretty expected and not a major concern to me yet. So 2s are not something you should be disappointed in your child about. 2s is fairly expected at the beginning of 5th grade. A 3 means your child is proficient. They show independent understanding and application of the grade level concepts. And then a 4 is like getting an A, or is like scoring 91% up to 100% in their grades. So if you imagine the entire percentile, there's only a 10% chance that a student would get a 4. That shows depth of knowledge and understanding. They're excelling at grade level. Please don't ever think that your student is subpar if they are getting 3s and not 4s. It is not equivalent to not getting A's. It's not the same thing. I am teaching 5th graders to be proficient, to be at a 3. Some 5th graders excel at what I'm doing, and some 5th graders fall just below. Our major concern are the students who fall in the 1s. So I just wanted to let you know that as report cards are coming and things are coming in the future, especially if we don't get to get together in the parent conference. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in the parent conference. Make sure you use the link to pick a time. If times aren't working for you, just reach out to me and I will do what I can to meet with you at a different time. All right, parents, thanks so much.